with Woodward and Maine, your source for all the insider information on the defending NFC North champion Detroit Lions. With insight from Detroit sports media legend Terry Foster and rising star Matt Broder. Get ready, Detroit. It's now time for Woodward and Maine.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I want to make sure I have my microphone in place. No, I looked up and all I saw was this thing. I said, am I talking into my water thermos?
It's our new red microphones.
Okay.
Sponsored by Yeti.
All right. But anyway, welcome to Woodward and Main Street. I'm Terry Foster, along with the lefty over here, Matthew Edward Broder III. Morning. And then we got our main man, Sneaky Pete over there. Say what's up,
boys?
buddy?
Good morning, man.
Oh, nice beanie.
Yeah, that's right, man.
He's
Still love my
repping
Tigers, even though they lost.
He's repping our Tigers, Terry.
Now that we have the one big cat out of the way, now let's focus on the other big cats.
Meow.
And that is the no more meow with the Lions. They're legit.
Roar?
Roar. I can't roar, man. Or I won't roar. No, but interesting thing. They play the Dallas Cowboys, and normally, before the Lions ever play the Cowboys, it doesn't matter when it was, I'm always trying to think what tricks or sleight of hand or stuff that we were going to see in this game where the Lions will have the victory snatched from them. I'm not thinking that this year.
No?
No.
They're in Dallas, Terry. Something's going to happen.
I know. It's not. There's not going to be any sleight of hand. There's not going to be any referee turnarounds or anything like that. Lions, I cannot see the Lions losing this game. Dallas is not good. We are told Dallas is good, but they're not. Now, a lot of things would happen under the Lions. Pass interference, no pass interference. Yep. I didn't hear you check into the game. 5-0 loss, playoff loss, all kinds of stuff. I watched that game, by the way.
Des Bryant taking his helmet off, running
right,
onto the field.
Des Bryant taking his helmet off.
Everything, it happens in Dallas every time, Terry.
But what was the difference? That was at a time the NFL didn't care about the Lions. They didn't want to make a playoff run because they know they would get low ratings. They get a bad game. Now the Lions are the honey of the NFL's eye. So we're not going to see any bullshit today.
No.
We're going to see a legit game, and if they lose, it's because they deserve to lose. But
what about bullshit on the other side, on the Lions side? Is Dan Campbell going to go for it on 4th and 20?
Sure he will.
Is it going to hurt them this game? Is he going to go for 7 different times?
This is who he is. Of course he will.
Yeah.
He'll do. But he won't be put in that position. I think they're going to take care of business. Dallas can't stop the Lions running game. Mm-hmm. Jared Goff, don't turn the ball over 50 times, and you should be good.
That's the key.
Right.
That's the key.
The other thing why I'm so confident about this, I don't like noise surrounding a team. And there's a lot of noise surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott got paid. Even though Jerry Jones didn't really want to pay him, but he did.
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb is barking at Dak Prescott.
After getting paid.
Right. After getting paid. Micah Parsons is not going to play. We don't know where he is.
Yeah.
He just, I'm out of here.
And there were questions. We talked before the season when this was, I think it was before they got paid. It was Micah Parsons. Are they going to be able to keep him? He's talking behind the scenes. He thinks CeeDee Lamb's going to show up to training camp, but I don't know. There's something going on in Dallas.
There's so much going on. There's even rumors. I don't want to spread rumors, but there's been rumors of Michael Parsons being traded to the Detroit Lions.
Come on.
Among other teams. Just rumors. Rumors don't mean anything.
No, now you just took me into another world there. Picturing
I didn't mean to mess you up.
No, I like it. I'm picturing Hutch and Micah Parsons. If not for Max Crosby, Micah Parsons would be the best.
Well, everybody here wants Max Crosby to be traded to the Lions, which leads me to my next point. Lions are in it to win it, and I mean to win it all.
Yes.
Do they need to make a trade, which they're reluctant to do in order to do that. Do they need to trade for Michael Parsons? Do they need to trade for Max Crosby? Because it seems like the only thing they're missing is the other rush in.
Yeah.
If you get the other rush in, a lot of the other things are resolved. Your cornerbacks are better. And we won't see Hansy.
Terry on?
Yeah, Hansy with so many pass interference penalties. If they get that, I think they're done. That's it. They're winning this whole thing.
Just give them the Lombardi that day.
Bam.
It'd be hard to pass up on a trade for one of those guys, one of the top dudes, even though it would be outrageously expensive. But they may need to get something. They may need to get some type of pass rusher opposite Hutch. They're going to use these next few weeks before the trade deadline to figure that out. But what we see on while we're talking about the Lions pass rush, and we can get into that, the Cowboys on the other end, they're missing all their pass rushers. They're missing all their outside linebackers and edge rushers. Parsons is out. DeMarcus Lawrence is out. Their green dot linebacker, Eric Hendricks, is out. Deron Bland might be coming back. But we're talking about their best defensive players up front, the guys that you need to stop the run and get to Jared Goff. Well, the key to the game for the opposing defense is always make it difficult on Jared Goff. How are they going to do that today?
And if Jared Goff is not being challenged, you know what he's not going to do? He's not going to turn the ball over.
No. There's your key to the game.
There's no way the Lions can lose this game then.
The Lions are walking into Dallas, and I hope it's not a trap game, Terry, but they're walking in what seems at the perfect time. After a bye week, they get our boy Ragnow back, and we got to tell that story about how he proclaimed his health to Mr. Dan Campbell.
Yeah, he kicked Dan Campbell's ass.
How cool was that, by the way? Talk about the noise coming out of Dallas and just the difference between what's happening down in Allen Park.
Right. Frank Ragnow, who's probably the toughest guy in the United States, has a torn pec muscle. The only other person I've seen locally play with a torn pec muscle was Chris Spielman.
Yeah.
And I saw his thing. His chest was all knotted up and everything. I said, how's this dude even walking around? But Frank Ragnow, they want to baby him. Dan Campbell is the kind of coach, he's a tough guy, but he wants to baby his players. If you have any type of injury, he doesn't want you on the playing field. He doesn't want you out there. And I think what happened, Frank Ragnow, he was getting signs that they're not going to let him play against Dallas.
You think so?
Yeah, of course.
Hey, Frank, just take a couple more weeks off.
Right. So he took Dan Campbell, pushes him to a wall. I'm good. See there? See what I pushed your ass into a wall? It hurt, didn't it?
Campbell's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So
yeah.
Now you got to play me.
Dan Campbell's a big dude.
He's a big fella.
Like, you can't just push him around.
No, Dan Campbell's got to be. He claims he doesn't work out. He does. He's working out on the slide somewhere.
He's working out. He's probably already finished with his workout today. Mm-hmm. But like Terry, that tells me, like that story tells me the culture of the Lions all in one little package. Like the fact that you have a player like Frank Ragnow, how is he gonna reintroduce him to the head coach of a football team? Gonna ambush him in the hallway, just walking down the Allen Park hallways, punching him, showing him that his torn pec is healthy, and Dan Campbell loves it.
Of course, he loves it.
But
this is also a legacy story. This is a story that 20 years from now we're gonna be old men and say, hey, remember Frank Ragnow pushed Dan Campbell to the wall?
The Spielman stories.
Right, and then we'll embellish it. Yeah, he pushed it right through a wall, broke the wall, busted a window. No, you'll embellish it by then.
Yeah. It's gonna go down in Lions history.
Right. This is one of those stories. The young kids around here at Woodward Sports, they'll tell their grandchildren, I was there when it happened.
Yeah. Can you believe that, Pete? Also, good morning.
Good morning, buddy.
Can you believe that? Good morning to the chat. Good morning to everybody out there. This is Woodward in Maine.
Hello.
Ragnow's healthy.
Yes.
How? Well, actually, I shouldn't even say he's healthy. He's playing.
He's Frank Ragnow. That's
for
how.
Ragnow. This is insane.
Well, he's Frank Ragnow. That's why he's so healthy, man. I mean, look at these guys, man. I think that Terry's right in regards to the trade. Terry, I don't know about you, but obviously Max Crosby would be somebody that obviously would help the Lions out. What about another offensive lineman? to secure the offensive line. I mean, I was just curious about that, how you felt on that subject.
That's cute, but I think the offensive
That's
line
curious, man.
right now is good.
Yeah.
It's good enough.
right.
Now, we're talking about insurance.
That's what I mean.
So if you trade for somebody, they're not going to be in the starting lineup. I'm talking about trading. If you're going to make a trade,
That's what I'm saying.
which means you got to get rid of a player or some draft picks or whatever, it's got to be a difference maker right now.
Okay.
Micah Parsons would be a difference maker right now.
Immediately.
Max Crosby would be a difference maker right now.
Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, if you trade for the offensive lineman, and that's cute, and I'm not saying that would hurt the team, but that's a person that they'll put in the lineup here and there, and then if somebody's injured, then they go in. But it's not going to be a difference maker. This offensive line, even if let's say Frank Ragnow is injured, this line is still good enough where it's going to be very, very, very productive. They're going to be able to protect Jared Goff.
I almost say their best game of the season was last week, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago against the Seahawks without Ragnow. Like, I was encouraged by how Graham Glasgow stepped up and Yodi in their absence.
Right.
They're not better than Frank Ragnow. I just think that was the first game it really all came together. They dominated up front, the Seahawks, and it could happen again today.
All right, but you know what happens a lot of times, Sugar
What?
Pie? When you have an injury, there's this adrenaline that lasts for a game, maybe two, and you're able to overcome that. When you try to go after that week, then all of a sudden, we're talking about, oh boy, the line can go without Frank Ragnow, and then all of a sudden, no, they can't.
No.
Right.
You don't want to lose Frank Ragnow. Like I'm talking, yeah, a week was cute, and they played well. But Frank Ragnow's, I don't want to say the key to it. He's one of the keys. Penei Sewell is your best player, but it runs through Frank Ragnow.
But you know what? You want to have a guy out there that says, I'm going to be out there no matter what.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're going to have to kill me for me not to play.
Yeah.
You got to do the Ronnie Lott thing. Forgive me for going back in the day.
No,
Ronnie
that's
Lott.
what you're here for.
They
Ronnie
cut his
Lott's
finger
bust.
off so he could play.
This Lions-Cowboys game, it's about going back in the day. There's so much bullshit history between these two teams, even recently, even dating back to last year. And we're going to get into that game, but there are two things. Well, actually, first on the offensive line, they did actually acquire an offensive lineman this week. Christian Mahogany's coming back. Their fifth or sixth round draft pick. I forget the round. He's back. So there's an addition. He missed all the training camp. Got to work him in. There's your acquisition. There was an extension handed out yesterday. But first, just to scratch a little bit of my Tigers itch, Terry, we talked about it. We were texting about it yesterday. A.J. Hinch and Dan Campbell, they're both changing their games.
They are.
They're changing the NFL. They're changing the MLB in different ways. Tell me about that. You
right,
said you got something to share.
Here's what's going on with Dan Campbell and A.J. Hinch. First of all, they're both a little bit crazy. They're doing things that are unconventional. But there's different types of athletes and coaches. There's athletes who get paid and they help you win. There's athletes who are superstars, Pro Bowlers, whatever. But Dan Campbell is a coach who's changing the NFL. You notice we started making fun of him going for fourth down all the time. If you look around the league, other coaches are doing it more. And I think that's...
God bless you.
Woo, excuse me.
Broccoli.
Wow. That just came out of nowhere. And that's because of Dan Campbell. Now, on the other hand, A.J. Hinch has Tarek Skubal and then chaos.
Right.
Notice the Dodgers did the same thing. Cleveland did the same thing. Sneaky Pete in the last game. So you can't do that during a 162 game season. But I think we're going to see the A.J. Hinch way of managing more.
Yes.
Maybe the final 25% of a regular season and in the playoffs. You can get away with that.
And maybe it means they have 4 starting pitchers and they're planning for a bullpen day. Or 3. I don't know. You don't have to pay the top end pitchers anymore. You can make it work with the guys you got. It's interesting.
In order to do that, though, you need arms. Bo Brisky, even though he had a bad outing and these dudes could throw.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about dudes throwing 97, 98, 99, 100 miles an hour. So you can get away with it if you have people that can throw that pill.
And that's also part of the magic of both Hinch and Dan Campbell, the guys they put around them, understanding that Hinch might be the smartest guy in the room, but that they can't do everything. So Hinch goes out and hires Chris Fetter, brings him to Detroit with him, who's helped with that pitching staff. Dan Campbell has gone out, and Dan Campbell's an offensive mind. He's underrated, smart. People think he's a meathead. He's not. He's very offensive-minded and a savvy offensive mind. But he went out and hired or promoted Ben Johnson. He figured out who was the right fit to run his offense, and now they're rolling. They both have that awareness, and that's part of the different cultures they built together. It's part of the success of this team. It's so great to see two teams in Detroit making moves from the top like this. We're not even talking about the players.
You just sparked my mind, young man. Who's got the best wingman? Fetter?
I do.
Or Ben Johnson?
That's the question. When I was over the last couple of weeks with Wake Up Woodward, we started talking about Fetter or Ben Johnson. Who is that best assistant coach, bench coach, however you want to describe it? But who's the best wingman?
That's pretty close.
Who needs who the most? That's a great question. I would almost say that Fetter might be the more important assistant coach, but it's hard to downplay how important Ben Johnson is to this Lions team and to Dan Campbell at this stage of the Detroit Lions.
Right.
Who do you think? Who's the best wingman of those two?
You know what? I'm going to give it to Ben Johnson because this whole town is freaked out if this guy leaves.
They are.
You're right.
You know, without Ben Johnson, Jared Goff is nothing. He can't do it.
Right.
Amon-Ra St. Brown can't get the ball.
We're getting into beliefs. Beliefs isn't reality a lot of times. Fetter, I mean, every time he goes out to talk to these dudes, all of a sudden they retire 8 people in a row. That's all I know.
Fetter's an absolute stud.
He is. But Ben Johnson has been the architect of this offense.
True.
Ben Johnson, we believe, is the difference between Jared Goff being trash and being terrific.
So I was told.
But remember,
Thanks, Neil.
a whole coaching staff gave up on Jared Goff in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. After he was a Super Bowl quarterback in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Who lost
so he
to Tom
comes
Brady.
here, you have people who believe in you, you have a system that fits you, you have an offensive line, you have weapons, and all of a sudden, you're a good quarterback.
Yeah. A system that fits you, also a system designed to fit you.
Correct.
A pitching system designed to fit the pitchers that they have on the Tigers roster. It's cool to see how they're using this. And then sort of where the question came from, how now the rest of the MLB and the NFL are taking notice, are going for it a little more on fourth down, are hiring coaches that aren't the geniuses. They're not just going out and trying to look for Sean McVays. It's DeMeco Ryans. It's Antonio Pierce. It's the culture creators. Mm-hmm. I like alliterations.
And plus, the other thing, getting back to your boy Fetter, how do you get people to believe in this stuff? Hasn't been done before. You got a crap team, and all of a sudden you come out with something that's very unorthodox, and everybody buys in.
Mm-hmm. That's where you look up. You look up at general manager, then you look up at ownership. You look up at Scott Harris and Chris Ilitch, and you look up at Brad Holmes, Chris Spielman, Sheila Hamp. You look up at that leadership because it doesn't work if there's not buy-in from the entire organization. If Scott Harris and Chris Ilitch didn't believe in what AJ Hinch and Fetter are trying to do and going out and getting Michael Lorenzen and Jack Flaherty pitching projects to prove their pitching system while the young guys come up, it doesn't work. If Sheila Hamp doesn't buy into what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are doing when they're 1-6 in year 2, it all falls apart. But they stuck with it, and they trusted. They believed in their hires.
And you got a bunch of little buy-in things happening with the Lions. For instance, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Don't you think Montgomery wants to be the guy? Don't you think he wants to carry the pill 25, 30 times and Jahmyr Gibbs be his little backup guy, his little butt boy? No. He's buying into we're going to share, not share carries, but share series.
Yeah.
Montgomery has the first series, Jahmyr gets the second, then you go back and forth. And what you have is you have fresh legs throughout the whole game. That's why in the third and fourth quarter particularly, Montgomery is like bulldozing people, planting them in the ground. That's why Jahmyr Gibbs is pulling away from dudes.
The hit on Devon Witherspoon.
Oh my God!
Oh, that little pass to the flats where he buried, turned around, put him in the dirt.
You know what I thought was going to happen right after that? Witherspoon was going to retire. He said, "Screw this league."
I got to give credit to Devon Witherspoon on that play, though. Nobody made the tackle because Dave Montgomery ran out of bounds 40 yards downfield after that first contact. But it was Devon Witherspoon who caught up. Somehow that dude got up and chased him down. I'm impressed with that.
Now let's talk more about buy-in. How about Penei Sewell? Penei Sewell is called the best player on this team.
Yes.
But he's bought into playing right tackle and not left tackle. Now, Decker is going to be our left tackle. He's still good. He might be a little bit older. But Penei needs you at right tackle now until it's your turn.
Yes.
At some point, Penei Sewell's going to be the left tackle on this team. So he's buying in.
St. Brown, Jamo's coming up the ranks. Right. Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell's drafted after you get your contract extension.
Right.
Like, it keeps happening. Those are things that set franchises back. We saw it in Green Bay with Amon-Ra. Like, if these players, the stars, don't get what they want, if they're not bought in, that's where trouble happens. We haven't heard any of that in Detroit. In fact, Terry, bye week happens, they give David Montgomery a contract extension.
Right.
How cool would that feel in the middle of a season? But outside of that, just like those are the moves they're making. We're talking about Dak and CD yelling at each other on the sidelines. Are they what are they going to do this week? David Montgomery's he's getting his money.
That's true.
A guy who was probably underpaid 18 games ago. Like when he signed in Detroit, it was a bargain. Now they're like, wait, we want you around longer. We're going to tie your contract to Jahmyr Gibbs' contract. Right. We'll figure out
now, there's
the next
some people who will say, why pay him? You didn't have to. I'll tell you why.
That's the buy-in.
Because when you look at the history of the Detroit Lions, they did not pay guys, and they would grumble, and they would grumble to each other, and then they wouldn't be as productive on the field. I'm convinced Barry Sanders, even though, we saw that bullshit documentary, he left in part because his boys didn't get paid. Kevin Glover didn't get paid. Chris Spielman didn't get paid. Lomas Brown left. He said, you know what? I'm out of here.
When you don't see the people around you getting taken care of, the people that you need, that they need you need it all to work to chase the ultimate goal for the Lions. It's a Super Bowl. When that doesn't happen, you're not going to put your life on the line. You have to make decisions for yourself. That's just part of life.
The NFL, I would say, it's the only professional sport, where you do put your life on the line when you go out there.
Every single snap.
Right.
Every single snap. You're making a business.
That's why dudes are saying, pay me.
Yeah. It's why Marvin Harrison cuts his route short against Michigan in their game last year. It was a business. No, I'm going to be a top 5 pick. I'm not going. I don't care if it's Michigan. That's where things change. That's where, all right, I'm making decisions for the future.
Let's continue with buy-in. There's buy-in in the secondary. I'm a Brian Branch guy. I like when he cracks people's heads and everything.
And he's back this week?
And he's back this week. But who's better, Brian Branch or Kirby Joseph?
Brian Branch, but Kirby Joseph's having a hell of a year.
Kirby Joseph has been making big plays at big moments.
Yeah. He's in the Defensive Player of the Year discussion.
Correct. So they have to buy in to what job they're going to do in the secondary. Who's going to be the man back there in the secondary?
It takes me back, Terry, and I'll admit I defended him at the time, but when C.J. Gardner-Johnson came back from his torn pec last year, and he was jawing about I'm not going to be a part of a rotation. Like I want to be the dude. At the time, I heard that, and I liked that attitude. I think I was proven wrong with him specifically, but the buy-in conversation you're talking about is so right. You got to trust that these coaches are going to put you in the right position. Just like we just talked about the Tigers pitchers. Like if you trust that you're in for a specific the coach, whether it's Dan Campbell or AJ Hinch, have you in this moment, in this situation, you're the best person on our team for it, that's got to feel good. That's got to feel, all right, that's all the confidence you need. If you're constantly chasing something else,
Well,
you get distracted.
I also
and you piss off
don't
Deebo
mind
Samuel.
when a guy pops off now and then and says, I need more playing time.
Fair.
Or I need to be in a better position. But in this situation, it's probably a great thing that the Lions are not talking noise. It's the buy-in. And that's the most important. That's one reason why this thing is working.
Yeah. The difference between the Cowboys and the Lions, when you talk about how they've taken care of the players, and you hit it. They paid Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, now David Montgomery. They paid them early, took care of them early. Mm-hmm. And the season got close, and we're talking about the Cowboys not having paid Dak and CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons yet. Dak got paid, CeeDee Lamb got paid, but how it went down, the timing it went down, not just financially for the Cowboys waiting, that contract comes after 4 other record-breaking contracts, but it's that locker room. The other guys, why isn't CeeDee Lamb paid? Micah Parsons, like, oh, he'll be at training camp, I promise. Like, he'll be here. It's distraction.
But when you wait, you end up paying more. If they had paid Dak 2-3 years ago, they wouldn't be paying him this amount of money. So they waited too late.
They did.
And they may not have a finished product there.
Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle, they're 2 years behind the Lions.
Right.
The entire NFL is trying to catch up to the Lions' strategy.
I couldn't believe they brought Ezekiel Elliott back.
I can't believe that either.
And he wants carries?
Yeah, he wants more carries. And you know what? Give them to him. Give them to him. Let him carry it 25 times a day.
Hand it off all day.
It'll be 25 carries for 35 yards.
That's right.
Let him do it. I don't care.
Is it safe to say the key to this game is just limiting Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb? Like, are you worried about anything else?
No,
Yes.
you're not worried about anything else. But the other thing is you have to limit the funny business. No, Halloween is coming up.
True.
Who knows? There could be some, we used to talk about the leprechauns at the Boston Garden. There's something going on with Dallas, too, especially when the Lions roll in there. So as long as there's no hanky-panky, which I'm predicting now, no hanky-panky today, the Lions should be able to win this game by 8-9 points.
I think there's a 0% chance that there's no hanky-panky. Like, there's something is going to happen. I don't know what it is, but there's going to be controversy. It happens every time.
Not today.
Every time, Terry.
You know why? The NFL likes the Lions now. The Lions are making the NFL money. The Lions are giving the NFL eyes on the prize. The Lions are a prized possession now. They're not no longer this ugly little redheaded stepchild that you threw in the corner and throw breadcrumbs at.
They're real.
You want them at your dinner table now, prime position, because people like to see the Lions. People root for the Lions. Last year we were talking about the Lions being America's team.
Yes. Yes. To be America's team, to actually snatch that title for real, you got to get the Lombardi. You got to go win a Super Bowl. Through 4 games, Terry. On a scale of 1 to 10, like, where are you at Super Bowl meter-wise? Like, what do you think about this Lions team?
My Super Bowl meter right now, 1 being no shot to 10, they're automatically in it.
Yeah.
I would put it at 7 right now.
Okay. Is that in the driver's seat? Or that's in the upper echelon, 7?
But there's a bunch of people who are in the driver's seat who could still win it. Nothing is guaranteed, especially this league is wacky. I mean, we saw San Francisco lose 3 games in a row last year. This year, we see Kansas City winning, but a lot of times not looking that great. But they win.
They win.
Right. So how about the Commanders?
They're fun.
Who thought at the quarter poll that the Minnesota Vikings would be in first place?
I did not.
When we talked about the NFC North, we talked about the Lions and Green Bay, and would the Bears be able to be spoilers?
We didn't talk about the
We
Vikings.
shoved Minnesota in that little back room with no lights and just said they got no shot. But this wacky league, now they're leading and have beaten some good people, San Francisco, and so they're no fluke.
Was Einstein's theory good? Relatively.
Sure.
I have them higher. I'm going to put them at an 8.5. what I've seen out of this Lions team, while it hasn't been perfect, Terry, it gives me so much hope that they're one of the best teams already, and they're still getting better. They still haven't played a clean football game. They still let Seattle hang around in that game and didn't step on their throats. The offense looked great. The defense, I don't even want to say took a step back. They allowed too many big plays. There's things they got to clean up.
Maybe Seattle played one of its best games.
True.
Remember, Seattle's unbeaten before that game.
Exactly. The Rams, although they're falling off now, at the time, they're a playoff team. That's the first game of the season. You're getting their best effort. The Bucks, the Cardinals, we're coming out of bye week, and I don't know if it's because of the bye week we haven't been able to talk about them a lot, or there's just more time for people to talk about it. But it seems like there's an extra level of skepticism about this team, that they're not for real. But I think they're absolutely 100% for real. They're balanced on every unit of their team. All three levels of their team I really like, and it hasn't been perfect. So this is a huge game coming off a bye week. You got Cowboys going into a bye week. They're beat up. And you got the Minnesota Vikings waiting for you in week 7 at 5-0. They're on their bye week. So that's NFC North first place.
Here's what changes about the Detroit Lions now that they're Super Bowl contenders. Every game is must win.
Mm-hmm. This is a must win.
They must win against Dallas because they don't want to go 3-2, and they may possibly be 2 games behind Minnesota at this point. They must beat Dallas because you worry about Philadelphia, you worry about Minnesota, you worry about the number 1 seed, you worry about the division, because it's no longer just about winning football games. It's now about winning regular season titles, and that big title is the division. Yeah. If you win the division, it gives you I would say a 30-35% better chance of winning the Super Bowl, getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Terry, how much does revenge play into this game specifically? Because last year, what happened with Brad Allen, the referee, I mean, to me, the Lions won that game, and they were snaked out of it. But a loss is a loss. A win, to me, all but locks up the number 1 seed in the NFC. It wasn't a for sure thing, but we're talking about 14-3, which all but locks up that first seed. To me, also would have locked up Coach of the Year for Dan Campbell and probably put Jared Goff in the MVP conversation. When we're talking about a quarterback of a 14-3 team becoming the number 1 seed in the NFC, winning the NFC North, all the storyline needed for MVP Coach of the Year and locking up that number 1 seed, all taken away in Dallas last year.
So you're talking revenge now.
Yeah, I'm talking revenge.
I think it's going to play a big factor. The Lions are a revenge team. St. Brown, I got drafted after all these scrubs. Anytime there's a slight, the Lions get upset. We here in Detroit, we got Detroit versus everybody. So, yeah, revenge is going to play a big role. But I just don't think there's going to be any controversy today. The Lions would take care of business. It means the Lions would go in with that businessman's mentality. Going in here, kick their ass, go home.
Needed.
Right. No. Let's stand over the dead body and cheer and everything. They just go in and take care of business and go home.
It's a business trip.
Right.
It's a business trip.
They may have briefcases out on the field or something today.
If I'm Dan Campbell, maybe you're getting off the plane. Every player has a briefcase. They're just coming. It's all business.
Well, Dan Campbell does weird things, sort of like Phil Jackson did in the NBA, and so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he did something like that.
Yeah. Terry, this Cowboys team, we hit on it briefly at the beginning. They're beat up. They're going into their bye week, but Micah Parsons isn't playing today. They got DeMarcus Lawrence, their other defensive end. He's on the IR. Marshawn Nealon out of Western Michigan, their second-round draft pick, one who they drafted to step up. In this scenario, he's out on the IR. Sam Williams, their number 4 edge rusher, he's out. Brandon Cooks is out. They got a whole bunch of questionables. Deron Bland is not going to play. I misspoke earlier. Their tackles are beat up.
Yeah,
their Zach Martin had some rest days this week. They're beat up. This Lions offense should fly today, right?
It should.
Yeah,
And
whether
it will.
it's through the air or on the ground with Montgomery and Gibbs.
I think they're going. This is going to be the most balanced game that we see this season. Balance between passing and running. And I hear people say, "Well, just run the football." You can't do that in the NFL.
No.
You can run it a lot, but you can't just run the football. This is not college. So I think Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell are going to try to find that balance where maybe they run 60% of the time, pass 40% of the time.
Yeah. There's been a lot said this week about the Cowboys' rush defense improving over the last 2 weeks when they played the New York Giants and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they stacked the box more than any team in the NFL for the last 2 weeks. You can't do that on this Lions team because Jared Goff will pick you apart in the middle of the field. That's where teams have gotten to Jared Goff. When they get pressure and take away the middle of the field, Dallas has done the opposite. They've just shut down the Pittsburgh and the Giants running game. This Lions team is different. This is the best running back room, the running back duo, the best rush attack in the NFL.
Right. And, oh, shoot, I got to...
You got to sneeze. Well, so I'll tell you, this is where Montgomery and Gibbs, it could be very similar to that Seahawks game where they have a monster first half, and then the passing game, they step up in the second half, or vice versa.
Yeah, vice versa. And maybe we see a little more Sam Laporta.
I think so.
Stole my thunder.
You know?
Stole my thunder. I was going to bring that up.
Let's hear it.
Because the Dallas Cowboys are completely horrible against guarding the tight end. Plus, the Dallas Cowboys, with all their injuries and their defense overall against the other NFL offenses, is bottom third. And I think that Sam Laporta definitely gets off the snide today, Terry. You definitely stole my thunder on that. I think that Laporta is going to score his first touchdown of the year, and he'll probably be over about 70 or 80 yards in production. I think it's a Laporta day.
Especially with one of their biggest injuries. We talk about DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons, but Eric Kendrick, their middle linebacker.
Yep.
It's like
Green
losing
dot boy.
Alex Anzalone.
That's the green dot.
He's a green dot, and he's one of the better coverage linebackers in the NFL. So there's more space in the middle of the field. You guys are both right. It could be a monster game for Laporta, or at least one where we see 100 yards in a touchdown. Like he's back to what we saw.
Because we were told, he's playing, but he's injured and he's not 100%. He's had the bye week, and the bye week is a great elixir for people who have nagging injuries. I think we could see a big day for Laporta.
Yeah, and if there's a big day for him, if there's a big day for St. Brown, J-Mo.
Now, here's what you don't want to see. You don't want to see Sam Laporta make a great catch, and then they take it away from him because they say a shoestring was out of bounds.
Oh, right.
Then that would be the same old Lions and Cowboys stuff. That's not going to happen today.
Hanky-panky. That would be totally hanky-panky.
No hanky-panky.
No turning yourself around.
Tyler Guyton, rookie left tackle. Terrence Steele, beat up right tackle. I know we talked about the edge rusher opposite Aiden Hutchinson, but what about Aiden Hutchinson, who after the bye week, remember the Lions didn't play last Sunday, still leads the NFL in sacks, pressures, and hurries.
Right.
He's going to have a monster game today again, right? Like, we should start expecting this out of the Defensive Player of the Year front runner, right? He's going to go get that.
You snuck that in, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I did. He's at the top of the list.
And he should have plenty of injury because he didn't play last week.
He's fresh.
Energizer Bunny. No, this dude is legit.
He's legit. How is Pascal and we know Davenport's out for the year. Onzarike stepping up. Aleem McNeil, Reader. Like the Cowboys, their defense is as if they lost Hutch, McNeil, and Anzalone and Carlton Davis.
Oops.
Plus more. So that's what they're working with. The Lions, they got everybody back. Kirby Joseph is back. Brian Branch is back. They're ready to roll. They just can't let CeeDee Lamb go for 13 catches and 227 yards.
No, but he's going to get his. Now, the guy I'm going to be looking at is Hansy.
Oh, Mr. Hansy.
Yes.
Mr. Arnold.
They've had
Agent Zero
2 weeks to look at his game, work with him.
And fit him for some gloves. Fit him for some oven mitts.
Or maybe they cut his fingers off.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. But there's been a lot of things that they've been able to evaluate. They've been able to take him. They've had time to put him in the lab, analyze him, spin him around, and come out with a new guy. Let's see if that happens.
Yeah. I think we're going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to.
Zero.
Agent Zero. Terrion?
Agent Zero.
With that said, I still think he's good. I think some of these calls he's been screwed on because he's a rookie.
Yeah, they've been a little ticky-tack. They've been a little, but he's
Now, last
handsy.
game-
He's handsy.
He was handsy.
Even Carlton Davis was handsy when he was getting into it after that one to DK Metcalf over the middle of the field in the third quarter. They're all handsy. I would rather try to get him to pull back from being handsy, like the whole secondary. Coach him back versus having to get him more aggressive. Like, at least they're there to make the play. Now it's just about Aaron Glenn and Deshae Townsend. All right, guys, like put your hands down, tie them behind your back or something.
Yeah, or work on technique.
Right.
Maybe that's what they did.
That's a
for the
better
last
way.
couple weeks.
That's a more
Right.
professional way of saying it.
Well, I'm a professional.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm here learning from you, T. Uncle T. I'm not familiar with the cat milking days from
Well,
Motown.
you're young.
Pardon?
You're young.
I'm learning. I'm trying.
You're just about
He's a young
busting that
buck.
wall down.
What do you think CeeDee Lamb's going to go for today? Or what do they need to hold him to?
I think you need to hold him under 100.
Yards? Receptions?
No, not 100 receptions. Stop. Behave yourself over there. Now, I could see him
Colbert.
8 catches, 95 yards.
It's limited, no more than one touchdown or none.
Right.
But you just got to let. They have
And-
nobody else. Jalen Tolbert's all right.
And I'm not going to talk about the turnovers. If you get him to yell at Dak Prescott once or twice, then that plays into your hands.
We got pests. Amik Robertson, Brian Branch, Mr. Hansy, even Carlton Davis. I think we're going to see a lot of Carlton Davis on him. Everyone is actually going to be on CeeDee Lamb, but that's a really good. Get under his skin. Get in his head. When they start targeting Tolbert and Jake Ferguson, who's a pretty good tight end, like, we want to see some clip on Fox. We want to see Tom Brady trying to justify what CeeDee Lamb is yelling at Dak Prescott on the sideline.
Did you mention Tom Brady?
I did mention Tom Brady.
Still got a job?
He does, although apparently is this his last game?
Right.
Is it?
Could be.
What are you hearing, Petey? Like because he's got an ownership stake.
Let's talk to our
He's
media
been approved
consultant
for
over
minority
there.
owner of the Vegas Raiders. This should be his last game, if I'm correct on the NFL broadcasting rules.
Yeah, you should not be able to. Well, he shouldn't be able to call Raider
Right.
games.
Right.
I wouldn't even have him call games within their division.
I'm saying. He's done.
You can't. I'm picturing Jerry Jones, calling a game. That can't happen. I think
Right.
okay, Tom Brady can be unbiased and just tell his NFL stories, but I don't want to see Jerry Jones calling. Like I don't know how that's all going to work out. It's interesting. I'm intrigued to hear Tom Brady on this game talk about the Cowboys and Lions and Dak and Jared Goff, but hey, who knows? He still needs he needs some time on the mic.
He does. I maybe it's just me, but I never got all hyped about this Tom Brady stuff.
No.
Okay.
First of all, if I was an executive, I would not pay him that much money.
300 mil.
$300 million. I might give him $300 a broadcast, but I wouldn't pay it. I don't think he's worth it.
No.
I don't think people are like, oh, I'm going to watch this NFL game because Tom Brady's on there. And I don't think Tom Brady's going to give us this great insight. Tom Brady, for his entire career, learned how to keep the media out of his way. Learn how to keep the media away from things. Learn how to keep the media from understanding what made New England click.
Good point.
So you think all of a sudden he's going to be this great, insightful guy? No. Tom Brady he's a shoe collector. He puts his little shoes away, doesn't want you to see him, doesn't want you to touch him, eats weird bread if he eats bread.
Probably
So
not.
I just don't think I'm not excited about Tom Brady being a broadcaster.
No. Just like Tom Brady isn't excited about jiu-jitsu instructors.
No, probably not.
See what I did there? Sorry.
Well, at least one he's not excited about.
Yeah, he's definitely not excited about that one. Terry. Dak. I don't know if you saw earlier this week. Dak said there's no way the Cowboys can afford to lose another home game. But I think you have a different take on this. You say there's no way the Cowboys can win this game? Like,
Correct. I don't see a scenario where the Cowboys can win this game.
It's a bad matchup.
One, although I said the Lions are going to be very balanced, this might be their most balanced game of the year. If they want, the Lions just beat the hell out of them. What's Dallas going to do if they decide to plowed David Montgomery 8 times into the line.
Right.
They're not going to do anything. They're trying to get to the bye week.
Sure.
You know, they're beat up and they're just trying to limp there.
That's correct.
They're not ready. They want nothing to do with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, we talk about, maybe we got to come up with a nickname for these two, but Jahmyr Gibbs isn't just like a soft, speedy running back. Like, he's got power too. David Montgomery isn't just a power back. He's got some giddy up. He's got some wiggle.
That's true. How
They
about
don't
this?
want any piece of that, Terry.
How about this for a name for the Detroit Lions backfield?
Come on.
Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom. Is that a play on the Sonic and Knuckles?
No, it's a play on when a jet goes
Right.
a certain
I know what-
speed, it goes boom.
Boom. When it's the sound. Yep. Sound
So,
barrier.
because David Montgomery, he's got a little Sonic to him too. He's got a little speed, got a little wiggle and stuff like that. We don't remember that because he puts people into the turf. Jahmyr Gibbs, yeah, he's the speed guy. He could turn that corner and everything, but he does that so well. We forget he can also go between the tackles and he could crack some heads too.
He runs hard.
He does.
I think it was his very first run ever against the Chiefs in the opener, where this comes after the DeAndre Swift on Hard Knocks with Deuce Staley trying to convince, hey, don't just run out of bounds. Lower your shoulder and take someone with you. Jahmyr Gibbs lowers his shoulder on the Chiefs safety, his first run last year. He can run hard. Sonic Boom, I like that. I like that. What do you guys think, chat? Sonic Boom? Sonic and Knuckles was something that was floating around this week. Obviously, there's the Thunder and Lightning. We got to come up with a new one.
We can't do Thunder and Lightning because everybody does Thunder and Lightning. That's old, stale.
Everybody. What about Monty and the Jet?
Monty and the Jet.
Like Benny and the Jet?
Yeah, that could work.
All right.
I didn't even think you knew who Benny and the Jets was.
But Benny and the Jet? Of course.
Listen to him.
Well,
I know,
Elton
he's-
John.
Educated young
It's going old school.
educated young man.
I'm not as young as some people think. I'm a little
Benny and the
seasoned.
Jets. What association does it have with a certain team in this city?
Benny Jopru, the best tight end in line. No, Benny. Benny.
Has association with one of the 4 pro teams in Detroit. Which one was it? And what was it?
Is it not the Lions?
It's not the Lions.
Pete, do you know? I'm thinking here.
No.
Okay.
No.
What association does Benny and the Jets have with one of the 4 Detroit sports teams?
When the Pistons,
Ben.
Detroit Pistons, when Dave Bing and the old timers brought the ball up the floor at Cobo Hall,
I love Kobo.
which is still around, which
Yeah,
is now
love
what's it called
Cobo.
now? The
Whatever.
idea.
It's called Kobo in our hearts.
yes, it's still Cobo. It's kind of like Pine Knob.
Right.
When the Pistons brought the ball up the court at Cobo Hall, they played Benny and the Jets.
Really?
Yeah.
Every time they brought it up? Why?
Every time, supposed to got the crowd fired up because people like Benny and the Jets.
They were trying to do a little Sweet Caroline at the Red Sox,
Right.
you know, in the 8th inning. They're just trying to
Didn't know that.
inject some. I'm picturing
They're
the
trying
front
to get.
tropics.
They,
They're just,
they got enthusiasm into the crowd.
and this was before they were good.
They were bad.
This was en route to Isaiah Thomas. This was the
Right.
decade before. Fair. I learned something. I didn't know I was going to learn
cool,
something
Terry.
about the Pistons today. Shout out to Kool-Aid in
Every
the chat.
time you're with me, you're gonna learn something,
Fair.
young fella.
Fair. I'll take this.
Now the best
All right,
thing
guys,
about
we're going
Kobo,
till 10.
the best thing about Kobo were the Friday night fights.
Oh, really?
That broder you never got a chance to see, where all the young boxers would just take on each other from Kronk and all the other boxers.
Really?
Yeah, Friday night fights at Kobo. Terry, do you agree?
Yeah, and I remember those fights. Then there was one Tommy Hearns when he was on the downside of his career and
Yeah.
he was fighting scrubs.
Right.
He fought at Joe Louis Serena, and he looked bad, but he won the fight. But he looked bad. He fought like Broder.
What? No. Where did I catch that straight? I got the reach. Jab.
He's just slow though.
I'm not fast.
So anyway, Tommy Hearns, you know, he just gets through this bout. He looks bad. He's got a little pot belly and everything. He's breathing hard. And then somebody screams at him and says, "Tommy, you look horrible." And Tommy heard it, got mad, said, "Why don't you come into the ring?" And the guy screamed at him, "So I could kick your ass?" "No, because then that would ruin your legacy." And then all hell broke out.
The Hitman.
Yeah.
The stories, man. Oh God. Do you appreciate Does that hit something different with you than me?
Well, yeah, no, because I was born in '74. I mean, I love Terry is so old school. I could listen to Terry talk about sports history in Detroit all day long. You should write a book, Detroit sports history with T. Foss.
That would be epic.
Maybe I am.
CMO313 says Gibbs and Monty should be Monty Python. We've got, I just had one up. Blazer and Laser from Lions Fanimal. We got Blazer and Thunderbird from ADIZ411. Flash and Bash. Sonic Boom. Oh, that's from JC. T. Griff says Sonic Boom is dope.
Okay.
We got a fan.
Sonic Boom, bam.
What about Lee and Carter? Or Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker? It's Rush Hour.
Yeah, but
you love Rush
flow
Hour.
Off the tongue.
Nah,
You love Rush Hour.
If you have to explain it, then
I know.
it doesn't work. If it's too long, then it doesn't work. If it's too handsy,
That's what she said.
it doesn't work.
That's what she said. Right back
Totally
at
what
you.
she said.
Fair. Chat, keep them coming. I want more nicknames. We'll read them off. We got about 10 minutes left in the show. So let's start winding this down. Is there anything you wanted to cover before we'll get into maybe some matchups or like what you're looking for today at 425? The Lions are going to get this dub.
Yeah, they're going to get this done. I'm pretty confident they're going to get this done. The only two things give me pause, and one thing I said is not going to happen, is the weird stuff. Now, the other thing, do the Lions have a mental block with the Dallas Cowboys? Because we've seen Dallas beat them 5-0 in a playoff game. We've seen them stop a drive when the officials called pass interference on Dallas and then took it away. We've seen Skipper come out and report, I'm eligible, and then catches the ball for a 2-point conversion, and the referee's like, we didn't see it. Yeah. Everybody saw it. I think we even heard it on the TV.
We did when you listen back, and it was Decker. It was Skipper was the distraction. He was the decoy. Decker was the one reporting.
But I thought Skipper caught the ball.
No, the 2-point conversion was Decker. Am I right? Wasn't it? It was.
It was
Decker.
supposed to be Decker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
I'm like 99%
No, you're right. You're right.
But that's the magic of the play. The decoy was Skipper, who's coming in running, towards the huddle, towards where Decker and Goff are standing around the referee saying, hey, guys, I'm coming in, while Decker is there reporting eligible.
Okay.
However it went down, Decker or Skipper, what you're saying, the unexpected. Like, there's going to be some hanky-panky, Terry.
There will not be any NFL rule changes after the Lions game. How about that?
I just don't want to be waiting for the referee. Like, last year, after that game, we're waiting for whatever it's called, the referee meeting after, to, like, hear how they're going to justify this. And we learned nothing. But, like, we can't have it come down to the referee. We cannot have another game come down to the referees.
Right. So the only other thing that would give me pause is, are the Cowboys and the aura inside of the Lions' heads, and where they would come out and play tight?
I don't think so.
That's the only thing. But I don't think that's the case, because we talk about the bad man, Dan Campbell. For whatever reason, he's able to convince these guys that they're invincible, that they're better than they are, that they can do whatever they want, and that whatever happened in the past is gone, whether it's good or bad. You're living in the moment, and you have a goal in mind. The Lions are not in this to win football games. The Lions are in this to win championships now.
Bang.
There's a difference.
That's a bar. That probably gives goosebumps to a lot of Lions fans who've stayed close to this team over the years.
And I think there's a lot of people in this town afraid to say it. They're afraid to say that the Lions are a championship team. They don't like when the Lion players talk about the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But I've been around this team long enough. Everybody's afraid to say the word Super Bowl. And if you did say it, you were laughed at. Because you knew that it was impossible. Now it's not impossible. Now the dream is there. It's, if you work hard enough at it, if you get the breaks, the Lions could be in the Super Bowl.
Yes. They're built for it.
Yeah,
right.
The window is just opening. It's not closing. It's starting to open more.
I know, but the window don't stay open for long.
This one's going to be an extended. This team is different.
Unless you're the
team is
Chiefs.
different. And that's where you talk about having a Patrick Mahomes. I love Jared Goff. There's a different type of reliance the Chiefs can have on Mahomes. Obviously, they have on Mahomes than on Goff. You can't just have a bunch of nobodies around Goff.
No, you can't. But if you're going to win one Super Bowl, you can do it with Jared Goff.
100%.
If you're talking about multiple Super Bowls, it won't be with Jared Goff. It'll be with somebody else.
Maybe
winning
Hooker.
that second or third.
Once we get into, I'll say it, once we get into the prime of Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown's career and Hutch's career, because remember, they're not in their prime yet. They're on their third or fourth year. This team is so young.
Still babies.
Is on that Cowboys topic, Terry, and I know we're winding down there, is this a rivalry? Like are the Cowboys and Lions a rivalry or no?
I'm going to say no. I don't think the Cowboys pay attention to the Lions.
Interesting.
Only from the standpoint they know they're pretty good now. But I think the Cowboys, their rivals are still the Giants and the Commanders and the Eagles and stuff. The Lions haven't done enough for this to be a rivalry. Now, the Lions, from their standpoint, I wouldn't call it a rivalry, but it's a you piss me off thing. Or a pissed offness, whatever you want to call it.
Pissed offness. Like
Word I
Atticus
just made up.
Sappington. The kicker for the Oregon Ducks last night, Atticus Sappington. What a name.
That's a sweet name.
What a name. Revenge. Pissed offerson. Pissed off.
Right.
Whatever word we just made up.
Or
Chris pissed off.
when I see you, I see red.
I like that. Because I don't think the Lions use the Cowboys as a measuring stick of being Super Bowl contenders, but the Cowboys are normally a good regular season team. They choke in the playoffs. Dak Prescott hasn't got past the division round, but he plays well in the regular season. Until we get to the playoffs, Dak Prescott is a good quarterback, at least for their offense. You wonder though, I do think that the Lions are using the extra outside stuff as a reason, as some extra motivation to go get them. But the ultimate goal is winning the NFC North, getting as high a seed in the NFC as possible. And while we talked about this being a must-win at the beginning of the game, I do think it is. But the type of must-win, it's not like you're out of it if you lose, but it's a must-win to go get that number 1 seed. It's a must-win to stay alongside the Vikings so that next week, week 7, the winner is atop the NFC North. Right. All of those things are why the Detroit Lions, they're going to go take care of business. We know last year it was a Chargers game after a bye week, a shootout. Jared Goff and Justin Herbert that the Lions ended up winning. I was slightly worried with the bye week coming after the offense looked so good. After the offense went 19 for 19 and 3 passing touchdowns. One was Amon-Ra St. Brown to Jared Goff, but it was a perfect day. Perfect offensive day. Do they take a step back after the bye? I don't think so.
No,
I think
because
they start rolling.
I think they found their identity.
Yes.
They abandoned their identity against Tampa for whatever reason. Still put up 400 and something yards of offense, but didn't score.
Right.
Now I think we can't be cute. We can't be this pass-happy team. The Lions have to use their bread and butter. The bread and butter is running the football.
Yes.
The bread and butter is play action. The bread and butter is using all of your weapons. Now part of that is J-Mo's part of the equation. That when teams start to sneak up and try to get too close to the line of scrimmage, boom, let them fly.
That 70-yarder against the Seahawks, I want to revisit that real quick because that tells you so much. There's so much behind that one play. The connection with Jared Goff. We were asking about, more intermediate to deep route, post route across the middle. J-Mo, when he caught that ball, it was a half a step and you knew he was gone. Mm-hmm. Gone. What a weapon. How fast this Detroit Lions team can score on offense because of that. So we talk about pounding the rock with Montgomery and Gibbs. That means they start to stack the box even more. Opens up the middle, opens up the intermediate routes for another J-Mo bomb. Remember last year, on Deron Bland, who was in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation all year, J-Mo had the 63-yard catch. Jared Goff bombed to J-Mo down the middle. This could be another 2-3 catch, 120-yard day for J-Mo.
Yeah, he is a special player, and, he had to get himself right mentally. He had to get all the noise out of the way. I talk about noise. He had to get all the noise out of his life and all that stuff. But the way we're going to talk about J-Mo in a similar way that we talked about Barry Sanders. We talked about Barry Sanders about how foolish he made defenders look when they're trying to catch him. We're going to talk about J-Mo from this standpoint of all the times defenders said, I got him, and he just zip right by him.
He's that kind of athlete.
Right.
It's special. And I want to see it for many, many years. All right, around the horn. We got a minute left. Any final points? Anything you want to say about this game? And then give me your score and game prediction.
I would say that this is going to be a business-like trip for the Lions. They go back to their identity. They will defeat the Dallas Cowboys 27-14.
I like it. T-Foss. Pete, your final comments. Whatever you want to say. I know we've dominated the mic.
It's your show, guys. Anyway, Mel, I say that the game is going to go through the legs of Gibbs and Monty. I think Monty is good for at least 70 yards plus and a touchdown. I think Laporta is good for 60 yards plus and a touchdown. I think the Lions are going to win 24-17.
Wow. Right. You guys, none of you guys are in the 30s?
Nope.
No, we say that for you.
Yep. Do it up.
We know you're going to come up with
Broder,
35
$1
to 4 or
right.
7 or something silly like that. Go ahead.
Like a 36 to 27. We're talking a big field goal day out of Brandon Aubrey. And we're talking the only thing that gives me pause is because I do think they're going to be running the ball, which means the clock is going to wind down.
Right.
But I think this offense just continues to roll after that Seahawks game. I think they dominate the time of possession, and I do think they limit CeeDee Lamb, at least preventing those big plays. He might have 125, but maybe he's not scoring the touchdown. Or maybe it's not with 13 catches, it's with 8. They're going to limit him like they limited Cooper Kupp. CeeDee Lamb is a good player, but like you said earlier, Terry, I want to see him and Dak Prescott going at it on the sideline. I want them to piss him off. He's their only weapon today. It's Dak and CeeDee Lamb. Stop them. Do what you do on offense, you win.
Now, if Ezekiel Elliott wakes up and rushes for 150 yards, and this game is over.
You lose. Mm-hmm. You cannot, under any circumstance, let that happen.
But I think it'll be more like 10 carries, 21 yards.
That's a Zeke line. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rico Dowdle. They're going to shut down. The Lions' rush defense, still one of the best in the league. 4th in the NFL. Yeah, 4th in the NFL. They're not giving up a big day on the ground. It's Dak and CeeDee Lamb. Maybe a little bit of Jalen Tolbert. But
yeah, I don't even think the Dallas Cowboys would try to establish the run. They're going to say, forget it. We can't do it.
Why would you run at DJ Reader or Lee McNeil?
No,
Jack
but
Campbell,
but all these coaches feel, if you don't run the football, you can't win. So we got to try to shove it down their throat, even though we know we can't.
And Rico Dowdle, not with them.
No, not with them. Although Mike McCarthy's probably going to try. We'll see, Terry. Everyone, 4:25.
Yes, sir.
Lions versus Cowboys at AT&T Stadium on Fox. It's a chance to go 4-1.
Are you flying down for the game?
I'm not.
All right.
I'm not.
I was just down there. I should have stayed there.
You should have. You were right near there.
We could have V-mixed you in for the show.
Yeah.
We could have
V-mixed you in.
We could have done it.
Okay.
Next time.
Terry, Pete,
all right,
fantastic
boys.
show.
Thanks, guys.
I'll take you out, everyone. This was Woodward and Main Street. Tune in. What time is it? 9? Are they starting at 10?
10 to noon. We got the pregame show next. 10 to noon.
I see JB in the room next door. Pregame show with Neil. Is Neil here?
Yeah. Neil, Sean, Pete, JB.
We got the whole crew.
Is Neil sober?
We'll find out when he stumbles in here.
We'll see. Okay.
When he stumbles in, we'll find out.
He's been all over calling Pistons games, DFCU. Neil's been everywhere.
Yeah.
But everyone, check him out.
Man
Pregame show, 10 to 12. We're going to have a watch party, I believe, hosted by the Heavyweights.
Yes, sir.
At Hayes Social, and then a post-game show with Stick and Anson on the mic, taking calls, reviewing the game. We got an epic lineup here at Woodward Sports, Terry. It was a pleasure doing the show with you again.
Fun.
Need this Lions W. Everyone, thank you. This is Woodward and Main Street. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go.